Okay, call to order the Lowell City Council regular session at 7:02. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bennett,
Here.
Councilor Harris,
Here.
Councilor Stratus,
Present.
Councilor Weathers,
Here.
Councilor Murray. Here.
Got the date again, May 16th, 2023. Please stand for please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First item, we have approval of the agenda. We have a couple items I think we want to add as other business. Legal Oregon City's business meeting in August, and also a winery application. Mr. Connell brought those in for us, so when we get down there, we'll take care of that.
That a teaser to make sure we say.
It's for it's for the Blackberry Jam Festival.
Oh, planting, yeah.
We were thinking.
I'm thinking it's going up in view, yeah.
That's what I want it's going to be. That was my whole-
Sorry to disappoint you.
Any of the changes or whatever to the consent agenda? Okay. Need a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept the
That's approval of it.
Consent agenda.
consent agenda.
Didn't you just modify the agenda?
Yeah,
No.
we need to, okay.
Okay, what was
modified?
Have a motion to accept the modification.
Make a motion to accept the modification.
Yeah.
of the agenda.
I'll second. Okay. Gail, second by Tim. All those in favor of a modified agenda, I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda. We have in that, we have April 18th, 2023, regular meeting minutes, April 2023 check register. Does anybody have anything they want to take out for discussion?
Tim thought we were at.
Not here, not Steve. We have a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Yeah, we have, Gail. Yeah, all those in favor accepting consent agenda for April 18th, 2023 and check register April 2023, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Good people. Okay, public comments. Public want to speak? Thank you. Council comments. Okay, let's go all the way down to staff reports on page 15, city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I'll run through this quickly. We paid off our East Main Street property loan. I have filed the partition plats for Rolling Rock Park and the old City Hall property. Those have been filed as of today. So we can get started soon on marketing those properties for sale. Integrator of record, we've received numerous inquiries on that. If we choose to do interviews, that will occur on June 5th, enabling us to present a recommendation to you at the June 6th meeting for review and approval. And I am aware that Councilor Stratus would like to participate in that, so when we get closer, we can coordinate. Update on the audit. Emerald CPA completed their field work. Our goal is to get everything turned in by May 31st. I did have a piece of information from our accountant at 6 o'clock this afternoon about some details with the water fund. There were in some 2 transactions that were charged or recorded twice in the water fund. Was actually one needed to be in the sewer fund, so that made the water fund's balance lower than what it actually is. And that was based on some follow-up the auditor that wanted us to do. So I have to rethink my presentation for tomorrow night's budget committee meeting. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. We should still be able to meet our deadline to have the audit turned into the state audit division
I think that was enough.
It was about a 30 to $40,000 difference.
That's not-
Just gonna say $30 or $40, but.
He wouldn't have even brought it up.
That's good, good find on their part. That's what we do.
That's why we do audits. Update on development issues. LCOG is behind on sending us invoices for their legal and planning work associated with our land use applications. I have yet to bill for various land use applications that we have sent through our process, including the Dollar General application. I expect our billings for that to be in the several $1,000s range. And I hope to be able to send those out and get some checks in prior to fiscal year end on those. We had a meeting with the developer for the mixed use project on North Pioneer Street. This was about the conditions of approval that they need to fulfill prior to getting their building applications. I believe we got them on the right track for that, so they can meet their conditions of approval, get their building applications, and start building on that. The Lowell School District also got their building permits as they have fulfilled their conditions of approval. I turned in the city annex to Lane County Emergency Management. That came before you at a previous meeting. They are now reviewing that, and I'll keep you posted on the next steps. Moving on to other items, I renewed our SAM.gov account. That came before the council at a previous meeting with changing our official address. I submitted our ARPA report to the U.S. Treasury Department. I attended the Blackberry Jam Festival committee. They went through a checklist of to-do items. I participated in the League of Oregon Cities Small Cities meeting in Cottage Grove last week. The president and executive director were there. They went through their strategic plan. We also did a city roundtable, and as everybody went through what they're dealing with, listening to wastewater issues and building moratoriums, and seeing the storm clouds come over the room, it was nice to have some good news to share about what's going on in
That's right up in the latest edition of League of Oregon Cities magazine on the library.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
They still have about 30 people showing up for those.
About 20-ish or so. It was a good turnout. Yeah, it was a good mix of people from across this region. I met with Councilors Harris and Murray about the evaluation process. We'll talk about that later in the agenda. And my focus over the past month was to complete the recommended budget. What questions do you have for me?
The Rolling Rock Park. We did make a note about phase 1 environmental report, so that's part of our getting today.
I believe so. I believe we should do that. And if it turns out clean, which I anticipate it will, that'll be a good thing for us to include in our marketing board.
I kind of think maybe we want to hold off on something on the market until the front construction on the street. I think right now it's just a naked piece of property. If they see that there's something going to be developed and going in down there, then they can see it's I think maybe a more valuable piece of property.
Oh, buyers will know. They'll do their due diligence.
Okay.
They don't.
Okay.
Shame on them.
Well,
All right.
they weren't necessarily developing that right away. Talking about.
I believe
He's talking to a fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
I
I
thought
didn't
you were
know
talking
that they
about-
were.
It's almost like green tortoise.
Yeah, once somebody starts with
That's
something
going on
bigger
right
down there,
across.
that lot becomes more valuable. I
Well,
think.
I understand that, but I didn't. I wouldn't want to wait.
well
Again, we are on missions
Yeah.
here.
the Valencia property is already in the process.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so
direct
that'll
across the
be,
street.
that's across the street.
And the school happening on the other side is.
Maybe one of them will finish buying up the downtown. Okay. Next on, any more questions of? Okay, next on page, 18 is the, police report. Mokridge.
And Mr. Mayor, I believe the Public Works Director has a report too.
I just have a couple
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't put anything in the packet, a few things that happened, so. Saturday, May 6th, we had the parks cleanup, beautification day, pretty decent stuff, it wasn't huge like it has been in years past, but. We just about filled one, garbage dumpster, green was about 2/3 and lots of cycle, so. I think overall, we had about 50 people that came to it, we had about 16 volunteers and of course, staff that was there. I'm sure you guys seen, they did, some projects in the park, so it's pretty good. They're not quite finished. We'll wrap them up this week. So that was a good success and hopefully we can continue that on in the future. We've installed all the meters at the new subdivision up on East Fourth. I don't know if anybody has been up there, but I want to swing up there really quick because they are going up very fast. Already roofed and sided in the last 3 days, so full build out 90 days. Pretty crazy. They think there'll be people living in it by August. Let's see, what else, what other things did I have? I think that's about it. First day water meter. Oh, and our, the other thing is our temp worker started, our seasonal temp worker, so it'd be nice to take a little bit of stress off my guys for weeks. That's all we've been doing for about the last week.
That's good, what you did,
Yep, thank you.
I got some questions regarding that, dumpsters for Santa Fe. I felt that the, list of acceptable items was a little constrained with the goal of cleaning up the city. I don't know who sets those limitations on what can be thrown in a dumpster or not, whether that's an arrangement from Santa Fe and City Lowell, or that's Santa Fe or that's Lowell, but I felt like, we sent dumpsters away that weren't full, and anytime you start making people question, is this acceptable or is this not acceptable? Yeah, I had to call Max 3 or 4 times to over some issues over some stuff I was bringing down there. People are going to get frustrated and they're just going to go mad. And so if our goal is to truly clean up the city, I'm kind of not sure why we're not accepting things like household garbage, or why it was such a focus like A to Z list, but nothing outside of that. I think that we need to be more inclusive if our goal is to truly clean the city, because I'll be honest with you, a bookshelf or a piece of furniture is not attracting rats and mice and vermin. It's not smelling compared to somebody who's not taking their household garbage to the dump. So I also think that, maybe finding a place maybe where we could at least leave the dumpster one in place until it's full all the way. So we're getting our money's worth out of the, or at least getting our value out of those dumpsters that are donated to us. Because when I hear 4 dumpsters, I'd like to see 4 dumpsters where the stuff roll away.
We got enough to fill them.
Yeah, exactly. So I have some concerns about the constraints that were put on what can be brought and deposited to dumpsters and the value that had to the city.
And I can speak that maybe next year when we go for it, we can just get an updated list. I do know the reason it was put the way that it was is because of the turnout in the past. There was so much garbage. I mean, we when it was in the school parking lot, we filled it up. I mean, Don, you were there, they were heaping. So maybe that could have been the reason on that. But yeah, we can definitely look into it the next time we do it. And just see if we can make it. Still won't be able to take a fine, like big appliances, like bridges.
Yeah,
But no, I totally agree. We had people, you weren't the only one, a lot of people came up, they drove up first and asked, like, no, one, it's kind of a blessing, but the dumpsters get cooked up for a week in 3 days, actually. So we had a lot of people call city, oh, hey, I was out of town Saturday. Yeah, mind if I do this? And we let people, we didn't leave the gates open, of course, so it was just when staff was there, but we had about 10 people come up after the event. So between, the event and actually yesterday when they got picked up. That was kind of nice to be able to still have that available. That doesn't always happen like that.
Yeah. I just think trying to pull those dumpsters up and get the best out of our value that we can. And, offer people more of an opportunity to clean up garbage off their property. That, better.
That's a fair point.
Thank you.
New business, item 1, review budget committee application for John Peters.
We have 3 vacancies on the budget committee. We have encouraged interested members of the public to apply for service on the budget committee through advertisements in the Bridge. In response, John Petrie submitted an application. He is here tonight if the council has any questions of Mr. Petrie. If appointed, his term would last until December 31st, 25. His application is in your packet.
You like the word, but people like numbers.
I make a motion to approve, to appoint John Petrie to the budget committee.
One second.
It's not a position or anything like that, it's just on the board, right? Doesn't have a position 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. We have a motion to appoint John Petrie to the budget committee. We have a second by Tim. Okay, discussion, questions? All those in favor of appointing John Petrie to the budget committee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Got it. Got it. Okay, on page 22, we're going to move forward to the review of offers received from the city surplus property on their tax line.
The city has received 3 offers on the property. For the record, I will provide a summary of those offers. We received 1 offer from Brothers Plumbing in the amount of $60,250. We received 1 offer from TYJB LLC in the amount of $90,000. We received 1 offer from Hunter Harris in the amount of $65,000. This information is available in my office if any member of the public would like to view it. And if the city council decides to select one of these offers tonight, we would schedule a public hearing on June 6th. And after the public hearing, this council could vote to formally accept the offer, and we authorize me to sign, and then we could close as soon as necessary.
Questions?
So I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to make a counter offer to TYJB LLC to accept their offer on the contingency that they pay their.
Okay. We have an motion to accept the TYJP LLC offer for $90,000 contingent on their approval of the closing cost and contingent on the public hearing to be held on June 6th. Anything else? Any questions?
Would somebody that we're not accepting an offer from now have a period of time to make a counter offer based on what we discussed tonight?
I am going to advertise a public hearing on this and that. And in the public hearing, I am going to state that the council has selected this offer, but nothing is finalized until after the public hearing and then, and there's a vote.
And so if something can then fit what they've offered would kick in, I mean, if somebody tried to. How does that work?
I believe that that's at this point, I wouldn't go down that route. I would keep it as a backup offer in case something fell through. I'm not gonna, whenever we're done tonight, I'm gonna take the for sale sign, take it off the internet and say we're not accepting any more offers.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna hold an auction.
Yes,
No.
Public hearing.
I was just saying that,
I don't want to get into that either.
that's why I was saying that, and when you look at what they're offering, it's hard. It's unlikely somebody. With that, that's all I'm saying. Because they're willing to go.
Well, and that would be if we wanted to hold the thing open.
Right.
Which we could do. We could say we don't accept any and we're gonna continue
Correct.
receiving offers.
Correct.
That's an option, but.
But if we're closing. Okay.
All those in favor of accepting that offer from TYJP LLC contingent on a public hearing and on accepting, paying the closing cost. Signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. Okay, let's do a roll call there.
Mayor Bennett.
Aye.
Councilor Harris. Councilor Stratus. Councilor Weathers.
Aye.
Councilor Murray. Mr. Mayor, a point of clarification, if I may, in the unlikely event the buyer states that they don't accept a counteroffer and they insist on the terms as presented, do I have authorization from the council to proceed with these terms as presented?
I would believe so, but I think probably need a motion to give you that authority.
I don't believe so.
This is where I have an issue with process and negotiating in the public. I can't believe that that would be required. That seems like it ties our hands behind our back. That does not. Why on earth would we do that? I would suggest you come back. Yeah, that's like saying, yeah, well, we'll accept their offer of 90, but if they say, oops, now we'll pay 80, but we're gonna, okay.
Okay. Yes.
I agree.
I have the direction from the council and that's what I'll do.
So you can just tell me you have to go back.
That's what I'll do.
Do not. Number 3, follow up on discussion of city administrator's performance evaluation. Mr. Tuttle, what do we have?
I have a memo presented in your packets based on the work that councilors Murray and Harris have completed, and I will turn it over to them.
Thanks, Jeremy. So I just want to start by saying, Councilor Harris is a wonderful teammate. She did work on me with this, and she doesn't, she did.
He had a lot on it.
So you all have the memo. I'm not going to go through everything. I just want to cover a few big points. First one is, what is the goal? Last year we had a very detailed, specific numeric evaluation, and I think the sense from everyone was a little bit of displeasure with that. And so we wanted to shift away from that to an evaluation that was less subjective, more collaborative, discussion-based evaluation where both sides will hopefully leave feeling that they got something of value from that. And I also want to say that Jeremy's been a great help on this and has worked with Bill and I to get to the point that we're at. The participants will be Jeremy, who'll be doing both a self-evaluation of the past year and then prospective evaluation of the next year and what he sees his job looking like. We're going to invite the direct reports to participate. It's not a requirement, but there's value there if they choose to participate. And then, of course, each counselor required to participate as part of our job. If you look at the attachments, so attachment A is just a rough draft potential letter. I wrote notes for myself and I didn't put what page that's on, so it's at the end, I'm sorry. That's just a rough draft potential letter from the mayor or designee to send to the direct reports, explaining why we're asking them to partake in this process, why them choosing to do this is valuable to Jeremy and council. And then attachment B is not something we're voting on tonight, but it's something I want us to think about over the next year. So we came to Jeremy with a policy proposal for an evaluation. And Jeremy suggested, and I agree, that we should step back from that for now, treat this as, a process. But over the next year, I do want us to come back to this. I hope that we'll come back to this and actually create a policy detailing what this process is going to be going into the future. Jeremy and I were talking about, the most important job for the council is the budget. And the second most important is the evaluation of the city administrator. I actually think it's the reverse of that, since the city administrator does the work of the budget. I think this is the most important thing we do as a council. And I think we need to really have this detailed out in policy, what's expected of council. Because at the end of the day, it shouldn't be the responsibility of an employee to come to their supervisor and say, I want you to evaluate. That's our job. So we should make a policy.
And here's the tool.
And here's the tool to do it. Okay, so that was a lot. I talked fast. Kids,
Yeah.
on what we're trying to do.
I like it. I like it because you're talking about what it's for and why, instead of saying we're gonna do a 360 evaluation. Nobody ever knows what it is, and everybody gets nervous and thinks that, oh my God, you're just gonna go try and drum up negative comments, and that's not what you've outlined, so I appreciate that.
The other thing I like is, the memo. There's three things. It simplifies it instead of a bunch of, subjective questions to rank. But the evaluation of city manager's performance achievable previously established by the city council, so we know what our goals for the year, how well did that, there's gonna be reasons they might not have, but, and then assess the relationships between the city administrator and relevant local and regional leadership and key stakeholders and areas in which the city administrator work with the council to address the city. So it simplifies it, narrows it down, and, I think those are the important things.
And
to focus on.
And point C there, the third point, I think is really very important. And as an example, Jeremy and I worked on a proposal for additional funding to help with the unhoused and food insecurity in Lowell. And, that was something that Jeremy probably got tired of how many emails that were going back and forth. And then in the meeting, it was a 1 second, Councilor Murray and I did this. And we moved on. And I just think that doesn't reflect the amount of work Jeremy put into that process. So I think it's really important. And we all have these stories of the work we've done with Jeremy that probably isn't reflected in the public record or in our agendas or in Jeremy's reports. So I think it's really important that we all take part and actually detail that work.
Which I had just had this thought that this is something to suggest. Over the years, council, we should probably be just jotting our own little notes down. Yeah, you're good at it. I have to admit I haven't been so good, but because we don't remember everything. And it's really important. So, if we're going to write these things, that's one way to help ourselves.
Unfortunately, you usually remember the bad, and then he doesn't get credit for the times he's pulled it out of the hat when we're stuck on some unproductive conversation. And
Well,
pipe up and save us from
and when we
wasting another hour and a half.
right, when we get through a problem, we tend to, move on, we're, oh yay, that's done, and then we move on and don't, you know. Anyway, it's a thought.
I'm curious about the timeline. Basically, we have, May 26th is the, self-evaluation, right? We have, May 26th is the city councilors to have the written comments and then May 26th for the staff and then the verbal comments. So it seems interesting to me. So basically that whoever the singular council person is going to receive all these is going to kind of process 2/3 of that tripod. And the rest of the council is going to be vacant from evaluating that, except for the final report that is created.
So if I can step
Go
in.
ahead, yeah.
So on June 6th, or actually, if that's what is listed in the memo, it would need to be before that point so that we have a chance to read it. We will meet as a council, evaluate the draft document, meet with Jeremy, talk about, our individual feedbacks, and then this whole document. Then whoever did that work, whichever counselor did that work, will then compile the notes from that meeting, create a final evaluation. So this is actually, whereas last year we only had that one meeting.
Yeah.
This is adding 2 meetings. So we'll have a meeting where we all get together in executive session, have an evaluation discussion. That counselor leads, compiles the final evaluation report. Then we meet again, I think you put in the executive session, to talk through the final evaluation. So there are 2 opportunities where we'll meet in person with Jeremy in executive session to talk through the process. So that there is a baked in second.
Are you concerned about that? Because I'm too, about in terms of getting this all our stuff. Then, but that's today, that's 10 days.
So
That's because it's not just a check. That's,
it'll take a little longer.
yeah.
But I think we should try to get this done as quickly as possible. We all signed up for this. But one thing I encouraged Jeremy to add to the memo, and he did, is that if we ultimately decide that this is a positive evaluation and Jeremy's warrants a merit increase, it will be retroactive to the point that other city employees get it. So if something goes wrong and this gets pushed a little late, Jeremy won't suffer from our taking longer on this. And that, of course, assumes you all agree to that, but I think that's an equitable way of handling this since kind of getting towards the end of the year. And this is back to the whole, this really shouldn't have been Jeremy's responsibility to come to us to say, hey, you all need to evaluate me.
And that's what we're trying to get turned around.
So, but, and I have a question about that. Because it made it sound, where, okay, yeah, July 1st. Yeah. That's when everybody's salary was adjusted. Yeah, and that's common. That's really standard.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we haven't explicitly said it, so
Okay.
I asked Jeremy to put that in there so that we could all be clear that if we take longer, Jeremy does not.
I seem to remember that July 18th, and it's like, wait a minute, but that's a different date for them. Okay.
So at the June 6th meeting, whoever the counselor is chosen to do the preliminary evaluation report. They're gonna bring that to that June 6th meeting. Are they also gonna bring the staff reports and city administrators self evaluation?
Yes, yes.
So those full copies of those would be available for us to see and discuss at the June 6th.
And for Jeremy.
And for Jeremy.
And this is spelled out in there. And whoever does this needs to take responsibility to anonymize that feedback from staff as much as possible. I did ask Jeremy to add as much as possible or some variation there, because if Max submits feedback that, gosh, the city administrator did a really great job working with me on the water main, well, we're gonna know who gave that feedback. It's hard to anonymize that. So it will do the best that we can, but Jeremy has asked that he sees the full report of feedback, and I think that's appropriate.
Was everybody happy with the program they put together? It's good.
And you've done this before.
The problem, if you're comfortable with it.
I am.
The fear that you had on here is, possible action. So,
Would,
Could you resend out the goals that we
Yeah.
set for it? I could dig them out of my records, but I'd rather subscribe.
Yeah,
I meant to ask, thank you.
yeah, I was gonna.
But I think, I don't want to speak for Jeremy or the mayor, but I think we need to endorse this and select the counselor.
But we're ready.
And Don, you saw your part as mayor.
we have a motion to accept this. Or you need one? You have possible action, that's the only reason I have.
I would ask the council to approve a motion to proceed with the evaluation process as specified in the memo.
Make a motion to the city council to approve the process as outlined. For begin the evaluation.
we include it. Who does that?
And I also would like
You do all second.
yeah. I propose that, Councilor Murray be the one to prepare the preliminary and final draft report for the evaluation.
Thank you.
Oh, you second.
Okay, made by Tim, seconded by Maureen. To further the process with Councilor Murray heading it. You got all the wording that you can fill in there. So make it proper. Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed. Thank you. Thank you.
I do think that, maybe we should, when we discuss the future process, maybe, make a way to share that load out if there's a movement of this. Manner throughout the city council, so no, for two reasons. One, so one person always tasked with it, and so then I can be more objective by not having a singular person do it cycle after cycle after cycle.
And the nice thing about doing is to, because he's got the idea, but we can see how it's done. So we kind of are examples. And then we can take it. Oh, yeah, Tim and I. That's
Let's just say.
I'm not retired, so I can't.
Oh, well,
I appreciate all the work that you guys put into this.
And I should add, especially since there's a direct report and maybe didn't read this, the feedback that we're gonna have for them can be in writing, or it can be over the phone, or it can be in person, whatever method they prefer that works for their schedule and their work life.
Mayor, I'd like to add too that I appreciate the enthusiasm that Councilors Murray and Harris have had for this project. Evaluations can be tough, and it's good to see the council and individual counselors step up and have a quality process.
Yeah, it's good product.
I'm pretty happy to see something internal and not be reading something external through the process or just that part of the process. I didn't really enjoy that before. I thought that was, it felt really,
Oh, well,
I don't think Jeremy experienced that.
yeah, when we did that before with the outside, I think establishing this process in a policy, and having it is giving a gift forward to councils.
I do think when we get to a comprehensive 5-year review, there is some value for that outside perspective. But that's down the road.
Yeah.
Even my suggested policy just says you need to make that policy. So.
Next up is, traffic calming on Main Street. Mr. Becky, or Mr. Collins. Be good.
I'll turn this over to the Public Works.
Is this the packet?
It is.
Okay, so everybody has the memo from Civil West. So I'll start off with a little bit of background, this can be no surprise to anybody. We have had 3 years now, significant speeding on Main Street, specifically from Moss to South Alder. And also from Pioneer to Moss. This has been an issue pretty much since I've worked here. We've had a bridge sit down here for time to do citations. We put signs up and you know, it's just not working, and it's getting bad. I had a lot of calls over the last 2 weeks, specifically from 2 different issues. So I think it's a good time that we should at least look at this and address this. We have some pretty heated citizens. I'm surprised they're not here. They actually were going to be here tonight. So what I did is I spoke with Jeremy first. I went ahead and reached out to Civil West, and just to get a third party view of this. And I'll give us options, but some recommendations moving forward and see, you know, what we could do over there. And you guys all know signs don't work very well. No lighted sign. So there's some things in here. I'm not gonna read the memo because everybody has it in their packet, but I am gonna, if everybody wants to scroll down or go down a little bit to the different options. I had them include everything besides speed bumps and speed humps. And obviously probably the most effective, but also by far the most expensive would be to redesign the street. This is pretty common with what you see down in Eugene in heavily populated areas. You know, usually it's a narrow road like you see in the pictures here, or the traffic calming devices in the middle. This is something that I think right now is not a good fit for us. This is well beyond something that we can have immediate solution to this, and even if just a temporary solution. So I had them do full scope, just so we had different ideas to look at here. But if we want to go down to 1.3, the pros and cons of traffic calming devices, I'm just going to go over a few of them. Actually, like I said, the reconstructing the road, you guys can see there that the cost is, you know, that I think can be much higher than that. That road needs some work already as it is, so maybe down the road we can put some kind of grant for sidewalks or something, and we can incorporate that into it, you know, let's say the next 5 years, kind of depending on how the downtown grows. So I'm having security. Okay, so we've tried the radar speed sign. Everybody knows the city purchased one about 3 years ago. It is excellent. About the first week that it is up. It definitely helps some slow traffic. I've brought you guys many traffic reports over the years. But then it seems to go back to its, you know, to its normal, and it might have slowed a few people down when we put the fake flash in there to try to simulate the pictures and everything.
I've never seen it on Main Street.
It has never been on Main Street, actually. What we targeted the first year we had it was the very high speed. And when I say high speed, I'm telling you guys haven't seen the picture to the right. Not we, but the city, they're high. And so we targeted those areas, and it was specifically complaint driven, right? The 2 main spots that we've had it, people physically came to city council, complained, put it there, so we put it there. But yeah, and maybe that's what we do. We already own the radar speed sign. Maybe we put up there, maybe with some other things, just to see what it does. So, so anyways, radar speed sign, Narragansett Road, like I said, that's very expensive.
The governor, I believe, just signed a bill approving radar speed photo signs for ticketing. They don't know that it isn't a ticketing. They've had the first week if they don't get a bill, but that's now state law where they use photo shots of people speeding and stuff. It might slow them down a little bit, putting a sign out there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's easy for us to set up again. We did renew the subscription to it. You know, there's an annual subscription to pay for little cell phone cards and then so we can get the data. So, you know, maybe we put that up. And the reason I'm bringing this to you guys, obviously there's, you know, AC speed humps, which is the asphalt one, like on D Street, Tim, on Highland. Everybody's been speed humps. There's some from the school. They're great for just that, but everybody knows you can pretty much go whatever speed you want. Sure, go over it. It slows most people down, specifically fire trucks, buses, you know, people who are already fighting by the law. I'm leaning more towards the pre-draft rubber speed humps. Anybody who drove where these are knows that these are 10 to 15 mile per hour speed humps.
I know,
Yeah, these are very cost effective. As you can see from the price here, I pulled up our state sharing when I received this back from Civil West. We have a state share or pin thing that we can get these through, and the price is even lower than what he has here. I took some notes, did some research today just to go over the benefits. I'm not opposed to AC house, but they're very expensive, as you guys can see there. There's maintenance and need to replace. That road's not in the best condition. Once you put it in, that's where it stays. And obviously, everybody can see that. So I'm going to go over. I did a lot of research on the speed humps. We do not have them here currently. They're removable. Obviously, they're precast, relocatable. So maybe we put them in, and it's like, well, you know what? Maybe it's back like 25 feet this way. You know, the distance is too far apart. Or if down the road we improve that, we can use them somewhere else in town. You know, we can put them on Highland, put them on B, put them on Carroll. They're inexpensive, obviously, as you can see from the right here. If they're damaged or say they're in for a length of time, they're easy to replace. Both pins, then put new in their spot. And also they're easy to install. And when I say easy to install, it's something that my staff can do with very little assistance. One thing I will say is one of the major people that has complained about this a lot over the last couple of weeks is willing to offer his company's time and his equipment to help. These are heavy, these are big, if we get the full length ones, you can help 28. They have offered to come in and help not only with their equipment, but the labor. They've installed this before, so that is what I'm leaning for, but I wanted to bring it to you guys and see if there's any specific direction that you guys wanted the city to go. I think this is obviously the most cost effective. I believe we have the money in the street fund, right? And this is something I can get it ordered, and they can be here in 10 to 14 days and have them in, the scene. This is not an issue that's only directed around the school. I forgot to mention that. So the big issue before was the parents. Everybody knows I brought that to you guys. It's really bad in the summer because that is a popular, the baseball field, there are a lot of kids go to play there. And for some reason, just that area, even though it goes to a dead end, it goes to South Alder and North Alder. There's no turnaround. Every person I will say on that street, including the state trooper, every single person on that road is.
You think it'd be a good idea to put the speed sign up first, at least for a couple of weeks? I know we can get these,
Yeah.
but again, just to kind of do that process by knowing what it is, and then you'll have something to judge it by later, because right now it's just that's what I'm saying. If you could do that, I think that'd be really helpful, because then you can look at it now and you can, it's gonna be summer before too long, but just I think that'd be good.
It does not. Yeah, it does the report speed, total car count. We'll give it, and it's 24/7.
And what it says is there's a problem here. That's what it says, is there's a problem here, and then when we put them in, then we're not gonna have equal number of complaints on the other side that says, what the heck did you do that for? You've got more than just somebody that lives on that street complaining that people are going by my house too fast.
How fast is too fast?
Well,
25.
technically,
Well,
the speed limit there is 20 because it borders a school, but too fast.
I mean,
Well,
what are they doing? They're doing 50, are they doing?
I'd have to ask Neil, honestly, because they have sat there wrote many citations, but from the people that complained, I'm guessing 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fast in a very condensed.
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, they're really hitting.
But softball practice, baseball practice.
Stop sign.
My guess is if you put the speed limit, people's perception on what's fast and what an average speed of someone traveling down the road is based on you're going too fast on the main road.
Well, speed humps you cannot go too fast on, and as you guys can see,
The one you're talking about, so I will say this, my experience on D Street with the ones we've got on D Street, they're pretty big humps. Is the kids still use D Street to get around the bus, so they can keep the bus out of Lowell and get up. So D Street is the alternate option for people to get around, caught behind the bus. They were coming. So those speed humps don't slow
Yeah,
down.
these streets, I'll tell you right now, I take that route every morning, I don't really want to. But I don't.
So I like the rubber ones better. I think they actually slow people down. They kind of suck to go over. But
Yeah,
the
they do.
AC hump, they're just too slow. They're too gradual. So yeah, you get a little, I mean, you know, honestly.
Try to get air, yeah.
So they're almost challenging for that. So I don't feel the humps on my street are really slow down the average person. It's gonna make a fence, to be honest with you. I don't think it does it for the speeders. I think these plastic and do, I think the bang for the buck is there. I think the biggest thing is we're gonna get, you know, you got 5% of the people motivating us to make this change, and the other 95%, we're gonna have to pay the price of going over a abrupt bump.
Especially when I go to
So I just wanted to say that, you know, our kiddos still gonna have to walk through school. And so this is the number one thing I hear from people in town, you know, on city council is the speed in town. So I'm happy that we're doing something. Fully support this. Is there any chance of adding one on Pine Street in town, in 58? Because I gotta tell you, that crosswalk
Is the worst one.
is the worst one in town, and the number of times, anecdotal, but the number of times we've had people cut in front of us, inches, flying through that, when we have the lights on and everything. That one scares me, but it honestly scares me.
I don't think we have control over that section.
But I can reach out to Becky Taylor, she's the one that helped with the safe routes to school, help collaboration through the county and schools for the city. I will say that one of the things that did not get out of it was really pushed on that was a raised pedestrian crosswalk, which is technically a giant speed bump. I can see because of the traffic we do get a lot of traffic on Pioneer, Jasper Road is what it technically is. Let me put an email out, if Jeremy's fine with that, and just see. I know they know it's an issue because they did a traffic study before the work, they had the radar speed sign up there, they had the traffic counts and everything. But as far as one of these, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think this specifically is gonna be no from him. Regardless if the speed limit is 20 or not, but it's not gonna hurt to reach out. And maybe if we reach out, maybe they have a different recommendation.
What you might share, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but a lot of people see those lights as, oh, time to speed up.
But tend to get through.
Gotta get through before those pedestrians. That intersection.
Yeah, I will send you.
You're talking the main cross, yeah.
From the lot we just sold, just cross
Yeah.
street over.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been walking the dog.
It's so funny though, because we walk a lot and we try and not do the light because we walk quickly. Everybody stops. It's like, no,
I've done the same thing and not use the light and they stop.
because I'm trying to just, we'll just
Yeah.
get across so we don't hold up traffic, but they're
Yeah.
out, so they're overly polite.
Yeah.
And I
It's
think,
one
I think
extreme
that's
of
the
the other.
law. We're at a crosswalk, whether you hit that light or not, they're legally required to stop.
Yeah, like you go, no, you go. no.
That's why stopping is not good, because it confuses drivers.
The one thing that, I've told some other people, when you have different grids of streets and there are ways around, speed humps aren't as effective because people will go faster on the cut around, but we don't have that situation.
We
here,
also,
so-
the good thing about this location, and that's one of the things that, discussed with the engineer, is if you try to bypass this and go north, right, you have the engineer thing in the middle that narrows the roadway down. You can only get to the so fast. And the same thing up Pioneer, we have that big new sweeping turn, and it's narrow, they did that on purpose. So I think, like I said, even if this is the perfect solution, I think it's definitely. I mean, I don't care if you have a big truck like I have, or.
Well,
Definitely.
and you've done that narrowing so that you have to go around that corner slower and take it, even if you don't, like I might go all the way around just to avoid the speed bump, but that's still, both places are now slowed down.
But
So
there's
that-
not as many, the pedestrians are away from the
Exactly.
cars there a lot.
One, there's sidewalk
Than they
on
are
both
on
sides.
That's what I'm saying.
this,
We've got both situations.
On Main Street. Oh, not
Yeah, West. Main.
west side.
Right, and that's, by the way, that's where all the complaints were coming from. When they did the study, they did it from Alder to Pioneer, because they know that we've had issues on Main Street between Moss and Pioneer also.
It's mostly moss too, probably.
It's mostly, right now, it is that, the last 2 weeks has been nothing about from there to over there.
It's such a short distance.
But you know, a lot of with the new bus route, you know, a lot of the kids drop off used to be up Moss. It's not like that now. It's down Everly and Office and.
Yeah, well, that's.
So there's more traffic and people, you know, going into.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that. I'm oblivious to this. It's a whole lot.
So everybody, in general, consists of emotions, not to anywhere near any authority to get these, but
I think the other consideration is we did pay for Moss the Pioneer right already, so.
pave it.
Yeah.
Yes, yep.
So,
Well, that's the other thing. These, you know, it'll leave a small hole that you
Yes.
can put the tar in.
Yeah.
If we were to ever move it, but,
but
so.
the AC hump is
No,
way.
AC humps are permanent, and then when you take them out, you gotta redo that section. That's right. Yeah. So I think this would be a good alternative, Mr. Friday.
And you'll go ahead and put
I'll put the speed radar sign up, and also, you know, when we order these, I'm gonna order speed hump signs, because we need to give people fair warning, you know, so close to.
that's what I was curious.
Because I mean, somebody, that wasn't here last time I was here, they stole our coffee.
I think I hit somebody. Looking for an
It's
address.
one thing to hit that little bump, but those things. Did I just run over a car?
I think I hit lost training.
Yeah.
This just a single strip across there.
So I'm gonna look, you know, they make them up to a full like 24 feet.
But what I mean versus having two across there. Some people-
No, this would be a single, it would not be like the stuff you do, we have the doubles back to back. No, it'd be a single and then just stay on the single.
You do want, you know, they'll do one of these, but you get to like a mobile, you know, you probably,
Well, you have to be.
you
careful.
definitely want to slow down.
And, you know, I wanna do the full length, we have that big gravel right away there, there's a huge right away on West Main. But I don't want people to drive around it.
Right.
So we're gonna do AC to AC, you know, full AC to AC. We don't have sidewalks on either side right now there, so we'll, you know, these are rough locations that they put in just from looking at it, so. We would try to be respectful of people's driveways, you know, and stuff like that. And Don, if it turns out that these work, but not working great, maybe that's what we do, maybe we add the second. You have the second one, I'm telling you guys, it takes it down to 5 miles per hour.
I was
Everybody's been
gonna
through
say.
Eugene downtown.
You know the bumps at Albertson?
Yeah.
Stay around.
Oh.
Makes me wonder what it does to my life.
Oh, I think I got the direction I need. Any other questions or comments?
You'll follow on the next.
Well, yes, I will send myself Susan down an email and I will deal with your and we'll fire an email right again. She's our contact with the counties. So, yep. Very good. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, Max.
Okay, next up is number, 5, for law enforcement, Oak Ridge. Page 35. Ms. Collins?
This is a renewal of our annual contract with City of Oak Ridge. They're asking for an increase that would increase the price over the current year's contract, $4,269. All the other terms remain the same.
Is this something that's gonna be in the budget tomorrow night, that the budget committee is gonna be contemplating also?
Correct.
So do we really want, if there's a motion, do we really want to approve anything tonight with the budget committee maybe looking at it tomorrow night?
We do the contract, the budget committee doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think that is anything good. What are you thinking, that the budget committee isn't gonna approve the money?
I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I just don't know if they wanna change or anything like that. The way I was reading it, it seemed like there was maybe some options to go on that. And I misread into it.
In my budget message,
Yeah.
what I was getting at is laying the groundwork for a potential voter referred measure next year during the 24 elections to have options to fund this service for the future.
I like the fact that they're here.
I'd like to get some data back on these years in terms of, expenditures, in terms of our court system versus what we're bringing in. I'd like it to be able to evaluate our outlays versus the return, obviously return. The most important return we're looking for here is public safety dollars, but there is some evaluation there. We can put in a heck of a lot of those speed bumps around town for $36,000. Slow everybody down that way too, if that's all we're getting out of the contract is speed. So you know, 36 over 10 years, that's $360,000. Those speed bumps last a lot more than 10 years. Everybody in town would be upset that they were having to go over those speed bumps all the time, but I guarantee people would slow down. So I really need to, I'd like to see those numbers coming forward, because I think it does go above and beyond public safety, the bang for your buck. So directly following for negotiating other contracts involving enforcement that's directly related to this contract for legal services, cover that one, is that our?
You did fill some
Yeah.
accepts when that came up for me, that I just haven't seen it, it's not that I have an issue with it, I
Yeah.
don't know what. You know, I'd like to go to a court day, I don't know when that is. Haven't asked. Want to know more about it.
Aaron, do we have time before this contract expires to invite the Oak Ridge Chief of Police to come and talk to us about
Sure.
what they're doing?
Sure.
That might help us have a better understanding of what we're doing. Because this predates my joining the board, so I know it's the thing we do, but I haven't heard from them really what they're doing. So that might be helpful.
And I know they do more. I've seen a lot of police reports now.
It might be good also for the community, right? They're not just talking to us, they're talking to who's listening, so there might be more value.
Sure. If the council wants to table this, we can look at getting Chief Martin up here sometime in June to meet with y'all, say your first June meeting.
Would it be hard to extract information?
I'm not quite clear on that. Could you restate that?
So what we bring into the city from traffic.
Oh, yes.
Share for the city versus, if you split that. What it costs us to have all of our court days, what we're paying our clerk, what we're paying our judge, any other secondary expenditures related to that, just, you know, all the financials related to processing, our court system related to this. So I can kind of get a picture of the whole, what we're getting for our 36,000.
Yes, the financial data is easy to compile. We have a municipal court cost center and a police cost center. So it's easy to pull that information out. As well as a separate line item account for our municipal court fines that we receive. So yes, I can prepare that information for you.
I don't, if it's not,
Not at all.
Well, the court also do with citation. You would still need okay. Let's go ahead.
I wonder how many code issues are executives last 12 months.
Well, yeah, but if we are doing code issues, we do it. I guess I'm all for all this, not objecting. Yes. I like the idea that Jeremy's talking about putting something in his work trying to, well, we looked at it before, and I guess as much as this frustrates us, I'm concerned about taking what we do have away from the city, just in the perception of there having nothing.
Now, I'm not in favor of that.
Yeah.
No,
So I mean,
just
I
don't
understand. I guess in some ways I feel like, yeah, we need to evaluate this and we need to understand better. So I don't disagree with that at all, but at the same time, I feel like it's stuck because it's what we can do.
I would say that there's a good percentage of the city that feel that we're getting very low for our money.
Well,
For asking people.
I mean, I don't disagree. You know, like I said, but it's,
I don't want a placebo effect. I don't want people to just because I want people to have a false sense of security. Just
Well,
because
that's
we
not
have a
right.
police contract. I'm not saying you're saying, I'm
Yeah.
saying I think some people feel that way.
And I think, if you dial 911, you're gonna get county, if anybody was, they would state for approving that, there's 25, 30 months. And
yeah,
if
we
you
got them on counties and. Bridges, we're not getting.
It's not even in the contract.
If the sheriff gives a citation out here, it goes to the county. That's the main thing, both groups does, we split everything. So, I'd like to say I see the value of it. Okay, next item is judicial services. Right. Page 40.
Easy.
In January 21, the council approved a renewal contract with Frank Segarra as our municipal court judge. That had a term going through December 24. He's requested an increase in his hourly rate from $100 per hour to $125 per hour. That's reflected in the contract here. It's the same contract as originally approved, except it has that increase in his hourly rate. I estimate with 6 court sessions per year times a 2-hour minimum times a $25 increase would result in a $200 per year increase. And Mr. Mayor, you made a good point. Our municipal code does require the council to appoint a municipal court judge.
Question for the administrator.
So he's not willing to extend the term, he just wants the rate to.
Correct.
That's unusual, isn't it?
Well, the term is already set, and that's specified by municipal code. I think it's a 4-year term. So there's, whenever we get close, we can, if the council wants, look at appointing him for a new term.
And obviously the contract says this can be done before it runs. The rate can be changed within the contract before it's done.
Correct. There's nothing in the municipal code that prohibits that, from what I can tell.
Any explanation of why the rate increase now instead of waiting? I mean,
He just said he was asking for a rate increase.
Probably inflation and maybe everybody else.
He went through it about a year or so ago. Probably has an extra set of issues.
again, I just don't need anything else.
I don't know if we went out for a new one that it would be even as.
And even if it was a little bit cheaper, there's a cost to during this time. And if the increase is $200.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I'm with you. I don't know why, but
So this is one where I wouldn't mind passing the cost on to the customer. Kind of against rates going up in the customer base, but the customer base we're looking at here is 5 years. Is there any way to increase any kind of fees or tickets to accommodate this versus us having to cover this?
I'm not too familiar with that. I do know that the fines that we charge are set by state law and as well as our municipal code. I'm not sure how much flexibility we have there. There might be some with our municipal violations. With traffic tickets, probably not. But I'm not too familiar with that.
These contracts are going up, judge contracts are going up. So we cannot be evaluating ratings of it. I don't think it's fair for people that don't violate that law to pay for the process. Don't have a cost for the audit.
There might be some opportunity with municipal code violations. I would just need to look into that.
Be part of that whole. Sounds like it's something we all could learn from. No emergency though. All right, that's fine. You ready for motion?
Anything else? You have a motion?
Move approval of the rate increase.
Okay, we have a motion for agreement for judicial services for Frank Figuera. Increasing the rate. Okay, any more to talk about? All those in favor of motion for agreement to discuss the agreement of judicial services for Frank Figuera? If I was saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Roll call please.
Mayor Bennett, Councillor Harris, Councillor Stratus, Councillor Weathers, Councillor Murray.
Next up is number 7, page 42. Motion to approve the quote for liftoff for software subscription.
I'm actually asking for the council's authorization tonight to renew our licensing through Liftoff or Microsoft Office. The amount is $5,236.80.
Windows and everything else.
Correct.
And we already have this.
Correct.
Is it the same price?
I think it's gone up a little bit.
Got it as well.
I've never heard of liftoff. But I assume that you've done all you can get that stuff through, purchasing service that's available to cities, or do you even have one in the school does?
I asked our
Let me think of the name.
LCOG consultant because I had a similar question. He said, you know, you can pretty much get it from wherever, and he looked at the price and it seemed reasonable to him. And this is,
There's, I mean, at least for school districts, you get a reduced deal. You know,
Shared it with our IT employees and they thought that probably pretty average for the cost. They weren't shocked by that.
liftoff.
What's the same?
Office 365 is not cheap.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not.
Good one.
I'll make a motion to approve the quote with liftoff for software subscriptions in the amount of $5,236.80 and to authorize the administrator to sign.
Second.
Motion by Dale, second. Jim. To approve a quote for liftoff for software subscription in the amount of $5,236.80, allowing the city administrator to sign. Do we have other discussion? All those in favor of motion to approve a quote for liftoff for software subscription amount of $5,236.80 and to authorize the city administrator to sign, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We're down to other business. What do you want to know about the League of Oregon business meeting in August?
I had a request from the League of Oregon Cities for them to hold their small cities meeting here in August. I wanted to bring that to the council. There is an expense associated with that. We typically buy everybody lunch, about 20 people or so. I contacted Councillor Weathers about holding a meeting at the Grange. And I wanted to get the council's input on if that's something you'd like to do.
You run through the library of your city hall on the way in or out of town?
Yes.
Yeah, where do they hold it? No, it's a lot of, it's like I say, it's small cities where usually if you go in there and you sit down and you're sitting down and you got Lawrence, Springfield, Eugene, Cottage Grove. And then you bring up something to talk about, and usually I talked with Oak Ridge person, and a little bit to Crestwell and Colbert, but everybody else is larger, so they can't identify with the problems. Here you have people equal size, a large degree, like you said, have equal problems, and so it's good to kind of show up in town too, that way. But these are people that like you say, they understand the problems we have, and we can identify with their problems, so it'd be a good thing to have here.
I like the comments, when we've had these things in the past, and you go, I didn't know there was a town over here.
Yeah.
Driving on Highway 58, so sometimes it's a good idea to invite somebody off of the highway.
If they rotate.
We do have air conditioning, so that's. I wouldn't-
I didn't think about that.
I do.
You would, by the time it was over.
We sweated through meetings in the past, and
Now the caterer,
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
ask Michelle.
You'll figure
does it
that
all
out.
the time.
Okay,
run it through the school.
Summer, the summer program is not what you want to serve your juice box and a.
And a free,
Yeah, uncrustable in a
sandwich
juice box
or
and a can of, or a carton of chocolate milk.
Okay, I understand we have a winery application for the Blackberry Day.
I wanted to bring this to the council's attention tonight. The Blackberry Jam Committee talked about this at their last meeting. Owner of a winery in the area would like to have a booth there to serve wine to folks, and they have sent me a OLCC form to sign. They'll set up near the food trucks. There's no fencing required, no effort required on our staff's part. If the
There's not.
But what happened was is the Blackberry Jam, maybe they're negotiated with them at that time, and they have to provide that.
Okay.
That means we don't have to do it.
Okay.
So
yeah, because we have beer here.
they need to
And
close their
was that
own.
last
Yeah,
year?
that's.
Yeah, that was the first
Same.
time I was there. Well, if we did beer, I guess we can.
They would make a smaller.
I'm personally just not for alcoholic Blackberry Jam. I've been on record for that for 20 years, but.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
The thing that I kind of run into that is if there's like the past, there's supposed to be controlled access. Nobody's supposed to take the liquor out of there, bring the liquor in, and there are people only supposed to come, you have to rope it off so people can only come in through certain spots around the whole fairground, playground, but, so. And that wasn't very successful. So I don't know if that's still something that we're gonna do, or if we're gonna cage them into a smaller area to drink while they're there. I think you probably are.
So it's my understanding that the vendor has been asked to do all their own party for OLCC requirements. And to do their entrance and their exit. They will monitor that, and they will make the fencing area that would be smaller than the entire area. In the past, we don't go to larger area, packing it through, had to put all that fencing in. This would be much smaller, and they would fulfill all those requirements.
So people have to stay inside the thing to drink.
I want to clarify, there's not going to be a fence. I asked this of the applicant, and his response was that's not needed. It's not required. And on the form here, under plan to manage the special event licensed area, he does have a response to numerous questions, but there's nothing about a fence, and there's nothing on the OLCC requirements having to do with a fence.
Is it after the meeting the night discussion with them?
This was today. I got an email from the gentleman.
I got it from the meeting.
She's correct. She did inform him if any restrictions were required, that would be his responsibility.
So that's what the beer vendor did last year.
No,
Or the city put up the fences around the beer vendor?
Can I get
Yeah.
some clarification on that
Yes,
quick?
please.
So this was the second time we've had alcohol served at Blackbridge Inn. First time was the 25th anniversary. The reason we put the fence up is because we didn't have time to go through the whole OLCC process. So the benefit of the doubt where we fenced the whole area. Same reason that happened last year. Blackbridge Inn was not a last minute thing, but it was, it kind of came together after COVID, so we did the same thing. You can have events without fence. We've looked into it since then many times. There's just certain circumstances behind that. So, it all depends on that OLCC application, what direction they tell you you have to go and everything. So the both times we've done it, it was out of benefit of the city just to do it, being safe.
Oh, because you weren't sure what was.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, lots of events and they don't have fencing or anything, I don't know, several.
So is there, a beer vending as well?
To my knowledge, this is the only vendor providing alcohol. So far.
Yeah. I mean. It's not.
I don't think we're keeping anyone out anyway. I feel like people are gonna bring in alcohol in their own cups, and I've seen in the past. I
Yeah,
never have.
well, that's true.
So.
And if we suddenly have 15 vendors on one shelf, if we're in that problem, maybe that's not a problem. Well, I'm not worried that's.
Maybe it's a good problem.
It's a good problem.
We set up the little wine fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The following OCLC, whatever
Yeah.
requirements.
Yes. No, I was just. I'm a.
Okay, thank you for your input. I'll get this processed.
Yeah.
I've seen just as many drunk people there who didn't have alcohol.
Oh, I'm not,
After dark.
yeah. I'm not saying.
Any further comments?
It's for rainbow.
From Bob Bird, 566 East First Street, Lowell. We have a couple statements of the make on the judicial system. Is asking for 25% rate. But when the last time you had 25%? Went from 100 to 140, no. Not gonna beat that, David. Then my next question would be, is the beer vendor, has anybody asked them if they're making money or do we have any idea? Hilltop, did you ask them? Did they make money or did they just have fun? I don't agree. Much. But, I don't know if there is drugs or anything else.
So where they got their alcohol from? I don't know, somebody that's serving up legit for the people that are driving.
That's all.
I think they do a little bit of exit questionnaires with the vendors, but it's often voluntary. Everybody knows how it is.
My experience has been the food vendors will always say, no, it's bad, 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 and then you look at the lines and they're, 30 long. You know if they do well, if they come back.
That's why it's.
That's usually the case.
Back, and it might not be.
Pretty low.
Then we're adjourned at 8:26.